In addition to my work leading the Israel public policy team, I created a new role. We banned content claiming Zionists run the world or control the media.
The reality of the world right now that we live in. He could be living an easy life, relaxing in peace, but instead he chooses to fight for the people of Israel. So I don't know if you have seen what's going on the internets. I'm sure you have, citizens of the internet. We connect on the internet. We know what's going on the internet. And there has been a lot of just people be clowning themselves, I feel like, just people that you can tell are not being genuine in the things they're posting and saying. And I had never heard this term Hasbara before. I'm not going to say it a lot because I don't want to get my stream locked or something. But there's this channel that I love, and the guy is a Palestinian drag queen, and he does these videos that are just kind of very in-depth dives into this subject matter. And when you have a government that looks like this, I love this. I think it's time to really look behind the curtain as to why. And, I think, as I said in the last broadcast I did, we're at a point where the post-duopoly thing has become more of a reality than ever because of subjects like this, because of political issues like this one. And so I want to show you, this is kind of just the intro to this piece that Drag Therapy did on this new wave of propaganda that we're getting. I highly recommend you subscribe to his channel and you watch this full video, but this is his primer, his kind of like opening thesis, so to speak. And it's just this, 5 minutes on its own is so good. And you'll understand kind of why I love this guy's channel so much, just from this opening.
That Zionists have changed their strategy.
Majority of Gen Z have an unfavorable impression of Israel. And my friends, I think the reason for that is that we're losing the digital war. And we have to figure out a way to win the digital battle.
שלום, נעים מאוד, קוראים לי אילנה שטיין, אני עובדת במשרד החוץ.
Sorry, Indie Nile is the channel, not Drag Therapy. Drag Therapy might be his other channel, but it's a term he uses a lot. So forgive me. Subscribe to Indie Nile. This guy does fantastic work.
אני רוצה לספר לכם קצת איך גם אתם יכולים לעזור לדימוי של ישראל בעולם.
I was in Europe recently, and I was just bombarded with these Israeli government ads. Every time I tried to watch a YouTube clip, there is a battle for hearts and minds.
I cannot believe how openly pro-Palestine this new Superman movie was.
Without a doubt, that is genuinely the most pro-Palestine I have seen a mainstream film ever be.
DC Universe's latest.
You notice too how Crystal Ball, not to be too much of a dick, but it's like once the Superman movie's saying it, Crystal Ball comes out and starts hammering on it. All these people are going, okay, it's safe now.
The Superman film is stirring political debate online, with many viewers saying the story offers a thinly veiled critique of Israel's war on Gaza.
And that was absolutely mind-blowing to me, that you can have this major Hollywood blockbuster that instead of like in the old days, it was always like the bad guy country was clearly the Soviet Union. Now it's Israel. That
the bad guy was the Russians or the Muslims.
Seems like just an incredibly significant cultural shift.
We got to get our digital sneakers on.
The Israeli government is paying MAGA influencers millions of dollars to come to Israel for a propaganda school. All because the Israeli government is realizing that the young people, Gen Z, are turning away from Israel and waking up to what's happening in Gaza.
When this debate pops up on your social media feed or on campus, what is the most persuasive pro-Israel point?
I would try to educate about Islamic terrorism.
Anyone can become an activist for Israel, anywhere, at any time. Welcome to the Actael app. Now, time for action.
I am living out the Zionist dream. I have been at Meta for almost 9 years. After many years of working in the government, I am now part of an incredible tech company. In addition to my work leading the Israel public policy team, I created a new role. We banned content claiming Zionists run the world or control the media.
TikTok's
that last piece, I just want to play that one more time because that is so.
A new role. We banned content claiming Zionists run the world or control the media.
We banned content claiming Zionists run the world or control the media. So she controlled the media to fucking prove that to get rid of content that says Zionists control the media after she admits she's a Zionist. What a fucking brilliant. Let's watch that one more time.
In addition to my work leading the Israel public policy team, I created a new role. We banned content claiming Zionists run the world or control the media.
TikTok's new hate speech manager is ex-Israeli Forces instructor Erica Mindell. Her role will include focusing on moderating anti-Semitic content. Mindell previously served as an Armored Corps instructor for the Israeli Forces.
I think that Israel is not doing a good enough job with telling our story, our perspective.
While Israel cleared hundreds of trucks that crossed into Gaza, the UN refuses to distribute the aid.
So we're really living through just the most enormous propaganda campaign that we can really envisage.
Because we have to remember, Israel has an almost infinite control and sway over Western media. So it can say the most idiotic, ridiculous thing.
I think that the word genocide, when it comes to the IDF, is completely unacceptable. Our belief, our values, our liberal democratic values. And that sets us apart from the jihadists, the fundamentalistic, and of course, exactly like the regime in Iran.
Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. I want to assure the civilized world.
That's Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel himself, which really shows the importance of this propaganda operation for the Israeli government.
Now, as important as the war of missiles and guns are for Israel, is the propaganda war for Western hearts and minds.
I think that our mind is still largely occupied and colonized.
And to that end, the Israeli government has increased its budget for foreign public relations by more than 2,000%.
If you need millions of dollars for propaganda to justify these violent acts, there is something wrong with your purpose. And the world needs to wake up to this.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack in this one.
So that's a brilliant kind of super cut for you there. And I want to show you this. This is a good example of how money well spent, I would say. This is Laura Loomer. And I just retweeted her. I said, how much money would Israel have to pay you to make yourself look like this much of a fool? And look at her tweet. It's time to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. We are a Muslim Brotherhood occupied nation. Yes. If there's anyone that wields real political control in the United States, it is the Muslim Brotherhood. You just have to agree that that is true. If you're paid by Israel to say stupid shit like this that everyone can clearly see you were paid to say. I mean, this is the woman who got caught eating dog food on camera. So it's you know a person by their actions. Like she'll do anything for money, clearly. So I want to show you too, Glenn Greenwald did this piece recently, just kind of showing you the victim card that these people play all the time. And Ezra Klein did an interview with Mahmoud Khalil, the guy who was swept up in the ICE stuff for saying bad things about Israel. And I'm just going to play you some of Glenn's commentary on this so you can kind of see how ridiculous this conversation.
Clips that viralized all over social media and then into articles, and it's going to be the subject of all sorts of op-eds and already has been. Here's one of those exchanges.
To me, it felt frightening that we had to reach this moment. And
Ezra asked about October 7th and what his views are on that, and this is the context for that.
To me, it felt frightening that we had to reach this moment in the Palestinian struggle. And I remember I didn't sleep for a number of days, and Noor was very worried about like just my health. And it was heavy. Like I still remember, like I was like, this couldn't happen. And
you're an anti-Semite.
We had to reach this moment. What moment is this? I was interning at UNRWA at that point, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency at the UN, at their New York office. And as part of my internship, my research and work was focused on Palestine, on the situation in the West Bank. And
you're an anti-Semite.
It's not sustainable. You have an Israeli government that's absolutely ignoring Palestinians.
You're an anti-Semite.
With Saudi and just happy about their Abraham Accord without, looking at Palestinians as if Palestinians are not part of the equation. And they circumvented the Palestinian question. And it's clear, like, it's becoming more and more violent. Like, by October 6th, over 200 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces and settlers. Over 40 of them were children. So that's what
he means by that, just by the way, is when he says that over 200 Palestinians were killed in Gaza and the West Bank by the IDF and by settlers, he means just in 2023 alone. So from January 1st up until October 6th, a lot of people like to portray Israel is just sort of minding its own business, being peaceful, doing nothing, and out of the blue.
Nothing happened before October 7th. It's just like 9/11. They're just like partners in crime. Our special day where everything changed and we can do whatever we want now to anyone we want.
For no reason whatsoever, Hamas attacked, even though there was no problem at all there. There was no conflict. Those are just facts.
I mean by, like, unfortunately we couldn't avoid such a moment. And yeah, it was absolutely difficult, like, to see not only the horrific images, but also the response of Israel. Because I knew like.
So when he said the horrific images, he was talking about October 7th. So you're going to see why I'm pointing that out when Glenn trots out the line of paid informants, to.
That's what Netanyahu wants.
So, all throughout, he started by saying, when October 7th happened, I felt physically sick. I couldn't sleep. He wasn't celebrating it. He wasn't justifying it. He wasn't cheering it. Everybody, if there were ever anti-Semitic statements said anywhere near the encampment that he heard, he would tell people that's not.
You're an anti-Semite.
Of what our movement is. And you had a lot of Jewish students who know him very well saying he's like the last person.
Douglas Murray saying you're an anti-Semite is just like, I always chuckle when I hear it. You're an anti-Semite.
Harboring anti-Semitism. And yet, this propaganda campaign worked super well by people who just saw the 2-minute clip framed as it was framed. Here's Mike Cernovich, who oftentimes is very balanced on the question of Israel and Palestine. He kind of goes back and forth, but in response to this video, he was very clear and said, quote, "Get him the fuck out of my country." Batya Unger Sargon, a friend of our show, she's been on before to talk about many things, including debating Israel and Gaza twice. She said this person is the exact terrorist sympathizer that Secretary Marco Rubio said he was. It is appalling how many Democrats were willfully conned by a person who justifies terrorism, which we all knew, out of hatred of Trump and Israel. Hatred of Trump and Israel.
She's actually friendly with Glenn too, so it's funny that he's mocking her.
Okay, so she's saying he justified terrorism. And you heard the clip, and we're going to get to that in a second. Here's Barry Weiss, the whole crew, on August 6th about the Khalil clip. This is absolutely insane. Listen and think about what he's saying here. We couldn't avoid the slaughter of the Bebas children? Really? Eli Lake? Mahmoud Khalil is a con artist. His job is to fool dumb American leftists into embracing a death cult. It's amazing that Colombia would ever admit him and that he was given a green card.
Okay, I just want to pause here for a second. Just take the word leftist out of that, because leftist is like a pejorative that these people use. It doesn't even mean anything. They don't even know what a leftist is. it's a Democrat to them. But if you take that word out, he says his job is to fool dumb Americans into embracing a death cult. Who does that sound like? We just saw a 2,000% increase on their death cult influencer money.
I think he's owed due process as a permanent resident, but this man is a dirtbag. Here is
the projection with these people is out of control.
Is Stephen Miller, not the one who works at the White House, but the person who writes something named Red Steez on Twitter. He said, we had no choice but to use motorized he's satirically paraphrasing what he thinks Khalil said. He said, we had no choice but to use motorized paragliders of death and machine gun down a bunch of innocent concert goers and families in their homes is certainly a take.
Imagine thinking that people with hang gliders are a threat to people with tanks and an Iron Dome and billions of dollars worth of weapons from the United States.
You just heard him say, targeting civilians is never justified. Here's Sean McGuire, who's the fanatical Zionist and Israel loyalist who
What's your name, scumbag?
Has drawn a lot of attention to himself and controversy by some completely outlandish statements. But he's a partner in a big Silicon Valley venture capital firm. But he said this, quote, as a reminder, Zoran Mandani has been campaigning with Mahmoud Khalil. Now, I just want to say this.
So they're trying to hang Mahmoud Khalil. They're trying to basically scare people into with the anti-Semitism thing again, to hang it around Mahmoud or this Mamdani guy. And I want to tell you real quick before we continue with this, my take on Mamdani. Because I like the guy. I think he's great. And I think the fact that he's winning says something about the Democratic Party. The same thing that Bernie said about it. It's like the people want something like that. They want someone who actually focuses on domestic issues and wants to help. But this is what I think about Mamdani. He's another Obama. He's another Cory Booker. He's another AOC. He'll say all the right things on the campaign trail, and once he gets in there, he'll be a good little doggy and do what the party tells him to do. If you want someone who talks like that and will actually implement the policies they're talking about, you can't vote for Democrats. They've already proven that. So that's my take on Mamdani, even though I've kind of ignored him because I'm not really, it's a New York local thing, and it is what it is. This is just the chef's kiss to all this. This is another clip from Indy Nile's Hasbara piece, and this just kind of, you're gonna love this. Just let's enjoy this together.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
What's your go-to at McDonald's?
No, I'll tell you, Burger King. We did the double,
Whopper?
The
I haven't ripped Burger King in a long time. Burger King kind of sucks.
Yeah. Israel has increased their Hasbara budget, which is their propaganda machine, with $150 million, and part of that money goes to...
Those guys are like, yeah, let's talk about fast food burgers with a war criminal. Jesus Christ.
Influence people in college campuses, hire influencers like you, getting them into fancy trips to Israel, giving them this filtered, layered picture. So even if October 7th didn't happen, you were used in a propaganda machine. So you were recruited in March 2023, and you were activated in July 2025.
So also, to be fair to the Nelk guys, that's pretty legit that they had Bassem Youssef on as well. They did. I'll give them credit for that. But listen to
And once again, even though that there's no proof of payment slips to these people, here's an old gem.
This is so strange. My video of me talking about how I was offered $5,000 to support Israel publicly on my TikTok page was just taken down. This email was sent to my business email that
community guidelines violation. I keep going back to that lady at Meta who's like, we censored content that said that Zionists control the media in the world. It's like, do you even hear yourself, lady? We censored content that claimed that we run the media. We controlled the media to stop people from saying we control the media. These are the kind of brilliant minds that we get in these types of jobs. That's one of the reasons I stopped using Facebook for the most part years ago.
I have set up with my management where they basically say if I go live and pledge my support to Israel, they'll give me $5,000, saying I've fallen for the lies of rabid dogs and it's essential to not spread the lies of terrorists. An absolutely horrible racist email. And I know I'm far from the only influencer right now who's getting emails and offers like this. This was the comment section of that video. One mutual got offered $2,500, another mutual got offered $750.
That's why Israel and its supporters keep accusing people who speak up for Palestine that they're being paid by Hamas or Iran. They're projecting. Now here's another...
Or Qatar. Tucker Carlson. So please, if you haven't, he doesn't need my help, but if you haven't subscribed to his channel, Nile, absolutely brilliant content, great work. He does riveting videos that really go into the weeds on all the details of this stuff.